Africa Radio.
Well, it's exactly 4 days after Ghana went to the polls, and today we are back on Akyereko Radio to do a postmortem of the 2024 elections in Ghana. As you know, former President, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, has been declared as the president-elect for Ghana. Netintini titi omane se enene pepe Ghana mamfo ko the ballots echo elected the new president and new members of parliament. Nasido Sinim no Mami Mensa, the chairperson of the Electoral Commission of Ghana, already was declared say Omampanyi Dada John Dramani Mahama and was saying are winning elections now and then the president-elect for the Republic of Ghana. From the 275 constituencies, various MPs in a contest yabano. A move base and kuno 9 outstanding. Because results ne few hobano issues of contention the various MPs are more contested for these seats, especially the NPP and the NDC candidates, Obia MPC Obeja Tum. Bra Mami Mensa declared the results in all kind. Say yedesa mana kan kwa Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia Hua and Yadi say obetimi and John Dramani Mahama ebetimi ababepe. If you are joining us today from Pretoria, South Africa, you are joining us from Lagos or Abuja in Nigeria. If you are joining us from Liberia, Monrovia, Bamako in Mali, Senegal, Dakar, Cairo, Egypt, or you're joining us from Freetown in Sierra Leone. If you're also joining us from the United Kingdom or the United States of America, this is Akyereko Radio. We are coming your way with the latest edition, and we are conducting a postmortem of the election 2024 in Ghana, which has or was decisively won by the former president John Dramani Mahama, beating the incumbent vice president of the Republic of Ghana, Dr. Alhaji Bawumia, to the election. Some say it's a landslide victory, and a lot of members from the New Patriotic Party have started talking and contributing their views on why and how the NPP, the New Patriotic Party, lost the election. Specifically among them, or significantly, are the opinions of Kennedy Japan, who predicted in 2023 that the New Patriotic Party had already lost the elections. Also, Honorable Eugene Buachi MP has also been speaking about the defeat, and we will bring all these updates live to you. Don't forget, in the updates that came, there were 80,774,159 registered voters, and from the updates that was shared by the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, over 6 million Ghanaians registered voters did not cast their ballot, which some MPP members or supporters are attributing to voter our party. And today we have our usual guest on the show, Godfrey Teriagogo, who is a communications and public affairs analyst, who will join us to discuss and delve deeper into these factors. And later on the show, we will also speak to various members of the leading political parties, that's the NPP and the NDC, who also share their view on how the elections transpired. So don't forget that the program is probably sponsored by 3 companies, and as we go on, I will announce and give you more details about our sponsors for today's program. So let us quickly go over once again to recap on how Madam Jane Mensah called the elections for His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, the president-elect. So if it's ready, can our producer put that on the screen for us to listen?
Of the NPP obtained 4,657,304, being 41.61%. Daniel Augustus Latte Jr. of the GCPP obtained 16,673, being 0.15%. Christian Kwabena Andrews of the Ghana Union Movement obtained 16,461, being 0.15%. Kofi Apalu of the LPG obtained 5,219, being 0.09%. Mohamed Frimpong of the National Democratic Party obtained 4,413, being 0.04%. Nana Akosua Frimpong of the CPP obtained 23,397, being 0.21%. Mr. John Dramani Mahama of the NDC obtained 6 million. Let me take that again. Mr. John Dramani Mahama of the NDC obtained 6,328,397. And I'd like to repeat that. Mr. John Dramani Mahama of the NDC obtained 6,328,397, being 56.55%. Mr. Hassan Akyereko of the APC obtained 17,461, being 0.16%. Mr. Kofi Kranting, independent candidate, obtained 3,320, being 0.03%. Mr. George Chumberima Edu, independent candidate, obtained 3,091, being 0.02%. Nana Kwame Biediaku, independent candidate, obtained 84,470, being 0.05%. Mr. Alan Kojo Tremanting, independent candidate, obtained 31,202, being 0.28%. The total valid votes cast add up to 11,191,422. Total rejected votes 239,109. Total votes cast 11,430,531. It's important to mention that the total registered voters add up to 18,774,159. And the percentage voter turnout based on the 267 constituencies stands at 60.9%. 60.9% based on the 267 constituencies. And as I mentioned, this does not include the 9 constituencies whose results we are yet to receive. Ladies and gentlemen, as mentioned earlier, results from the 9 constituencies are still as outstanding. The 9 constituencies are Ewutu Senya East, in Sawam, Aduajiri, Akwetia, Suhum, Techiman South, Domi Kwabenya, Ablekuba North, Ahafo Anon North, and Damango. The total registered voters in all 9 constituencies add up to 947,116. In the event that all the valid voters from the 9 constituencies above voted for the candidate who placed second, the total number of votes he would garner would be 5,604,420.
My brothers and sisters, there is much to do to salvage our country and reset it. It would have to start with a reset of the relationship between citizens and elected officials. We must never forget that the people of Ghana have chosen us to represent their wishes and their best interest. It is the reason we would be initiating important governance reforms and sometimes initiate severe measures in the next 4 years to reset our nation and bring it back on track as the Black Star of Africa. The journey is not going to be easy, my brothers and sisters, because the outgoing government a nation into an abyss. However, we are determined to work together with you to build the Ghana we want. And I am certain that we shall win the battle. We intend to work together to restore the shattered confidence in our politics and governance system. This election and its outcome represents an opportunity for a new beginning as we can begin to write a new chapter of our collective story. We need to consciously set the tone for the new direction in which we'll be traveling.
This is Akyereko Radio.
All right, the statement that were made by the chairperson of the Electoral Commission of Ghana, Madam Jane Mensah, declaring John Dramani Mahama, His Excellency, the former president, who makes a historic return to become the next president in this Fourth Republic dispensation of Ghana. Also, you heard the president-elect, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, giving his maiden speech following his election into office, or his re-election into office as the new president of the Republic of Ghana. Don't forget, if you are joining us live on Akyereko Radio on Facebook, you can like, share, and comment. You can also bring in your comment and read them live on the show for you. And before I introduce my guest for today's show, Akyereko, I would like to remind you that the program is proudly sponsored by Bayside Modeling Agency. And if you're living in Japan and you dream of becoming a top world-class model, contact Bayside Modeling Agency so that your talent can be honest. You can become one of the top models in the world. You can contact Bayside Modeling Agency on 0366270885. You can also contact them on their website by www.bayside.biz, and get in touch with Bayside Modeling Agency if you dream of becoming a top model in Japan. Also, the program is sponsored by Matsumoto Enterprise, Kanto region of Japan. Don't forget to contact Matsumoto Enterprise for all your delivery and shipping as well as pickup services. Matsumoto Enterprises can be reached on 08068535337. When you call, brother will be on to answer. You can also contact Kalibobo on 09067004429. I repeat the contact numbers for you again. Contact Matsumoto Enterprise for your best service in delivery, shipping, and pickup services. Contact brother on 080-6853-5337 and also Kalibobo on 090-6700-4429. And our last sponsor for today's program is Mama Efe Hair Salon. If we are Ghanaian and living in Saitama and you want to get the best in terms of hairstyling, contact Mama Efe Salon in Toda Coin in Saitama. You can call to make a reservation on 090-830-11149. 090-830-99949. So we are back on the show, and I'll quickly turn over to our first guest on the show, Mr. Godfred Teria Gogo, who is joining us live from Ghana. Godfred needs no introduction because he's been a regular member of this platform. He is a communications and public affairs analyst. Do we have Godfred on the line?
Yes, Akyereko, I'm on the line now.
Godfred, good evening.
Good morning from Ghana.
On how is the atmosphere in Ghana after the elections?
It's been pockets of violence and looting in some places, but generally the country is very calm. I think that people are tired and some are relaxing, while those in the thick of affairs are beginning to position themselves for a smooth transition.
Okay, so quickly to properly decode and to conduct a proper postmortem of all the things that how is the public processing this whole election thing? Because if you're looking at the numbers that Madam Jemensa called for the various candidates, the 15 political parties, specifically, if you are narrowing it down to the numbers of the New Patriotic Party and the National Democratic Congress, you are looking at what some people call a huge voter apathy. There are some who say that the NPP's numbers reduced drastically as from what they got compared to the 2020 numbers. The NPP's figure remains almost the same. So in this context, if you're looking at the strictly, over 7.3 million people in Ghana did not go to the ballot. I'm referring to the registered voters because the registered voters on the Ghana electoral system is over 80 million. And Madame Jemensa called, she said around 11.4 million people casted their ballots in the election. What contributed to this huge voter apathy?
Well, thanks very much. Yes, we were hinted of this situation in the year when Afro Barrow report was released. The report spoke about a lot of people losing faith in our democratic system. And so I think this is an expression of what the report spoke about. What accounted for that loss in confidence of the system? I think that the deliverables has not been up to expectation of many Ghanaians, and therefore they thought that going back to the polls to choose a leader would amount to a waste of their time. It's a confidence issue, bottom line, and so I think that if we should get a change in this situation, then duty bearers would have to know that they are there in trust for the people, and they are expected to deliver the goods that the social contract actually spells out for the people of Ghana. I think that's exactly what we should be working at. And there was quite some anger, you know, in the system. Many have alluded to how government has conducted the affairs of the country, so much so that it appeared government was not picking the sentiments on the ground, and the government was going one direction, and the sentiment of the generality of the people is also at another direction, and so there's no convergence, you know, to meet the needs of the Ghanaian people. Let me say that we saw this play out in 2008, in 2016, and then in 2024. The Ghanaian is happy about building schools. The Ghanaian is happy about building the roads, the flyovers, and all that. If the Ghanaian agree, you know, then all these things come to naught. He would express his frustration through the ballot. And I think that this new government that's yet to be installed, we have to take a cue from this.
Godfred, well said. I've listened to the opinions of Honorable Eugene Boatianchi, one of the MPs from the Ashanti region, and also listened to the Subin MP. Also listened to the opinions of Honorable Kennedy Japan, who lost to Dr. Baumia in the primaries in the presidential race within the MPP. And if you listen to Kennedy Japan's statement way back in 2023, he predicted that this was going to happen to the New Patriotic Party. Honorable Eugene Boatianchi has also this morning spoken on Adom FM, I think, and he said at the time that members of parliament representing the New Patriotic Party in parliament felt that the way the economy was going, the finance minister had to step aside. And he revealed that about around 45 MPs gathered in his house in the Ashanti region, where they spoke with one accord and called on the president to release the finance minister of it. He, in fact, reviewed some of the things that His Excellency President Nana Akufo-Addo told them, which he sums up all these things and says that he predicted doom for the New Patriotic Party. Taking the public's view aside, do you think that the inability of the New Patriotic Party leadership, and here I'm referring to the president, vice, and those in control of government or the administration at the time, failure to listen to their members of parliament, also contributed to this huge loss or slump for the NPP? So you're looking at it, look at the numbers from the 2020 in terms of the numbers in parliament for the NPP and what they have now. The numbers have drastically reduced to 85, pending the 9 outstanding constituencies. So do you think that all these things played out into the mix for the New Patriotic Party?
What I would say is that there were certain political decisions, you know, that emanated from the Jubilee House that may point to the reasons why we have this situation. You see, the government should recognize that the flow of information has so much been democratized because of the emergence of social media. And therefore, people have real-time discussions and feedback, you know, as far as government, you know, actions and inactions are concerned.
Okay.
So even those who would call in the rural areas, a lot of them have access to smartphones. They see what goes on. They have real-time information about what is happening in government. And over this period, they have been making their decisions. You know, you specifically mentioned what the 88 MPs did in Parliament. There were other issues. Indeed, the latest actually is the impasse in Parliament. You know, that was not handled very well, you know, on both sides actually. And so the Ghanaian, you know, was fed up because they saw that, yes, be that as it may, once they want to clean the slate and have a change, then the option is to go for the NDC. Because this current government is in power and we are seeing all these things happening. The only respite for them is to change government. But let me say this, crunching the numbers, you will see that even though generally over 7 million people didn't show up to vote, if we juxtapose the 2020 figures to the 2024 figures, you will see that a lot of people who voted for the NPP in 2020 did not show up to vote in 2024. H.E. Mahama had a little over 6.2 million, if I'm right, in 2020.
Yeah.
In 2024, it's just about an additional 100,000 was added to that particular vote. But then people dropped drastically, And so you see that the omissions and commissions of government actually informed people as to whether they should vote or not. And in the areas where the NPP has its strongholds, you would see that rather than the people going to vote for the NPP, they actually didn't go out to vote at all. They abstained, which is also a decision. It is also a vote. Abstinence from voting actually is also a vote. And that has culminated in the election of H.E. John Maham. And so this is a warning to... Yes?
Godfred, let me digress. In fact, this is not a digression. It's still an elections-related issue. The post-electoral violence that we are currently witnessing, and some of them are very, very quite disturbing. We've seen some from Techiman, where some people have gone to the Techiman North, where it's one of the outstanding 9 constituencies that results are yet to come, where supporters yet to be identified have gone to the polling station or the collation center to vandalize some of the things. We also heard report from, I think, Ablekuma Central or Ablekuma North, one of them, where some members of both political parties went there and they claimed that some of the pink sheets have been burned. That aside, we're hearing that some members allegedly from the National Democratic Congress have also besieged the office of boss and they are vandalizing and destroying public properties. Don't you think that this is a huge blot on the whole electoral process and how the international community is coming to accept Ghana as a peaceful nation, a nation that is gradually maturing politically? Don't you think this is a huge blot on this image?
I think it's a shame, because the election itself was very smooth. People go to the poll and the turnaround time is top 5 minutes and you're out of the polling station. So we had a seamless, smooth elections. But the aftermath is what has not been managed properly. I think that we should have a relook at this collation center issue, where people go to the regional collation centers and all sorts of things then happen at that regional center. Because at the polling stations themselves, you didn't hear much of violence or even disagreements there. And so I think we should have a relook at that. Talking about the looting and the violence going on, I think that we could have done more with intelligence gathering, security and intelligence agencies should have expected this, because we had pronouncements prior to the elections.
What is happening to the government machinery? Because as we speak, though John Dramani Mahama has been voted, but he has 7th January to be sworn into office as the new president. President Akufo-Addo is still at post as the president of the nation. The security agencies are there. So why are they allowing people to vandalize and destroy public property, which eventually the government, the succeeding administration will have to look for government funds to put in place again. These people, these corporates, these perpetrators must be brought to book. Why is the government machinery, why the security
Exactly,
system not working?
exactly my point. Exactly my point. I saw that between the time, of the voting where this violence started and yesterday when the police actually started arrests. In fact, the police issued a statement. The Ghana Armed Forces has also issued a statement. The the NDC has also issued a statement. Calling on all its supporters. Even the NDC says they've not sanctioned anybody to go out there and do the kind of things they are doing. So I expected a swift response, from the police when this matters began, to happen. I witnessed one myself around Akyereko, and I couldn't believe what was happening. Yes, but better late than never. I think that the police are up and doing now. A couple of arrests have been made. The former president, who is now president-elect, has actually called on his supporters and whoever is doing this to stop. He's condemned it, and I think that the IGP must have, the willpower to make sure that he cracks down on this, because, like you are saying, an otherwise beautiful election that was held, we will not allow this particular situation to mar the elections and the records that we have set.
Of course, thank you very much, Godfrey Teriagogo, who is a communications and public affairs analyst, joining us live from Accra, Ghana. And don't forget to join the show live. This is Jafric Radio, streaming live from Tokyo in Japan, the best or the biggest African platform that you can find in this entire Asian region. Don't forget that the program is proudly brought to you by Bayside Modeling Agency. We are also sponsored by Machimoto Enterprises for Ghanaians living in the Kanto region of Japan, as well as Mama Efe Saloon in Saitama, Todacoin. You're joining us live on Facebook. Bring in your comments. We read your comments to you as the program streams on. And Bernard Bafo Jobin says that he is watching us live from Kawaguchi in Japan. So you can also join us and bring in your comments. Why do you think the MPP lost in such a huge fashion? I still have Godfrey Teriagogo on the line. But before I go back to Godfrey Teriagogo, I have been joined on the line by Mr. Adubuai from Saitama. He is a supporter for the new Patriotic Party. And he is going to share his views on the program on why the NPP lost so miserably. They've lost a lot of seats. Good evening, Mr. Adubuai.
Good evening, sir.
Please, how are you processing this whole thing? I understand that you are a supporter of the new Patriotic Party. How is this whole defeat playing out? Do you anticipate this? Are you disappointed? How are you processing this whole defeat?
Okay. Good evening once again. My name is Adubuahin. By point of correction, I'm from. I live in Chiba, not Saitama.
Chiba. Oh, Chiba.
I live
Okay.
in Chiba, not
Okay.
Saitama.
Okay.
Thank you very much. My regards to everyone, friends of Jafric, listeners of Jafric, both Ghana and home, Japan. The name of this program is Krokromoti Power. So I would like to go down to Ghana language, my Twi language, so that it will go down well.
Okay.
And I can explain myself very well.
Okay.
Me da obi ase, me din na Adubuahin, me Japan MPP organizer.
Okay.
The ebaye ne the me mechanic say we started from 1992 or this Fourth Republic. And say NDC called 2 times. That's former President J.J. Rawlings. 92, 96, he lost in Atamils in 2000. Kufuor came to power 2000, 2004, 2008 we lost. NDC came back again. 2009, 2012, 2016 they lost. We also came back again.
Yeah.
2016, 2020 we've lost again. But Ushemua, I'm saying the Obia the first term, no, we big.
Mm.
Even J.J. Rollins from 1992, MPP parliamentarians, MPP didn't go to parliament. Let me say
Mm.
it in that way. Yeah, and parliament. And the NDC had solely majority on parliament.
Mm.
1996, they lost. When we came to parliament, we contested. They lost most of their parliamentarians. We took over. Although we couldn't win in 2000, over most of their seats. And what about 2000? 2004. Imagine that we won in 2000, 2004. Although we won, but it reduced. So, 8. We 2008, first one, leading. And third, if you remember, 2003 rounds, 10 was the last round, and Sana, Professor Mills, able to have winning power. And remember, second round, now, called 10. Professor Mills was leading with only 19,000 votes, if my man said to you right. Only 19,000 votes. So with that time, 10, Professor Mills won with only 20,000, which is less than most of the constituency. That's what Professor Mills did about power. Professor Mills also buy. Okay, only the Antonio and Metro and Safreno. 20, former President John Mahama. Although he won, but this president, Nana Akufo, no one cared. The most na Mahama na to aso am ye de ba 2016 and we need unprecedented that time the na unprecedented because vote akufa do nya na bi mada and yet the musa about 2020 looking at number of votes that we won in 2016 and 2020 what happened now that's the history need repeating on 2020 to be honest with you we nearly lost especially in parliamentarian. Akufo-Addo was leading around 500,000 in presidential, but in parliamentarian, you all know what happened. If you 137, 136, something like that. And 2024, this is what happened. But looking at the numbers, as my brother said, in 2020, former President John Mahama won 6.2 million something, or 6.3. And looking at his current performance, that's 2024 results. It seems he is able to add only like 100,000 or 150,000 votes. And so we more MPP won, Akufo-Addo won 6.7 million in 2020. Now what if your current vote more? So where are the people? Over 2 million people. 2 million people. Where are they? Okay. When I say, my brother, Ghanaians are not easy people. You can take them granted. You can't take them for granted. What happened in 2016? It happened today. And Penifose Edidieja near Munanenam. Edidieja near Munanenam. If you don't take care of your people.
some of the NPP for now this time around, Oman to about the so-called 2 million people now. My political party didn't who much their coin. Omono near the day Jomo and saying, a toss be
Oh, yeah, my brother. Surely.
yeah, but Canada, trouble Eugene Boachenchi, the MP for Subin, Madika can a statement and never teach him, said Rubabi. None you might be cause for Abamua, not Ghana for one in your home. Emma members of parliament or free the new patriotic party, the MPP. Efre Mampania Kufa the tone and him, Senema Kosono, Oma finance minister, can offer a tankin on Hokakra. So the Beya Abu Toem Beba, Ama Amamfuati Omwati, because then you may see Kono. Emma was I say, upon you come in craft, Sabi or Casabia Nekatekia. I won't say edit the MPs no. The Uya not on chain. There were several times, Honorable Canada Japan, or losing the presidential flag bearership race to Dr. Obomia, or granting interview on platform, Eka said, election 2024 MPP losing that in 2022. And he cited similar examples. And he didn't know point to say, na mobile no near listening government na.
Oh, my brother. Is that said American? MPP MPs calling for president. Sir, finance minister instead put a harm, and that's on changing. One of the factors because it looks we are president. I said you are back with some people. And he say you too far no I day. Now can wafa. In Nipa now no more ya no. And you see looking at the situation no. Sabe ade we am why it can change no. Menya sure say president we ni party say most of the MPs now opportunity no nya no be president. But the American say menya sure say sabe you sabe but no that's no so. Onim nyansa nchen bia 88 MPs na omo ba out be kan sa ni nyina. And a group of you Sadiano, Kwame Sefa campus, because from afar, it's different. When you get close, it's different. So, MPs, they were not president. And he told the BR president also knew names and identity. And president also came out. And in the church in Mumbai said, this man was on the negotiations with IMF. Omomani will do a certain point to be a Ujayama will be a we are, but anyway, this is not the time I see a blame game. Although send your man koye, send in a year so on send it here. But a can't development part of some place like Ashanti region. My brother, let me give you a typical example. You have two wives. One respect you enough. One don't give you respect. Who will you love? Find out better. I think that the odu ni ani die man the be ma bia hwese na yele bedo no obebu no the ogu no okaso opentoma obetama no opeshi obetama no ope bag obetama no edu be bia it's about time otu force dey to catch them say mo ba kumase a mo fa mani nso hwe kumase bi nyankran ko a. Let me give you one typical example. Sofo line interchange. Omampani Kufo started in his regime. Let's say before 2008.
I think say the last but two edition a year program no so no. You could post be from the Ashanti Nation a page on Facebook now omo lamenting about a lot of things and na cause Ashanti region omo dream no mo feel say enye na MWA MPP. Omo feel say abani ye to omadia. Of course, the Ashanti region is the bedrock of the NPP. Yehona party na nkasa o maba to do one na na fiba. Na ye quiet here no ne hu say saa nyemo ye nsam bi a wo hwe de ye koso ne na you can't take social media for granted. Wo hwe the comments ne say among all this, if you look at all these numbers, nkofo no express sentiment from the Ashanti region and then and the internal party politics, Alan Chamanti moving away from the party in some don't you think that now a Dubai campaign for should have tried to close the ranks? Now come on try to resolve the internal party na no man to one among.
My brother, I want to come here, Campbell. I'm starting so full line interchange. So full line interchange, or panic for start, or panic for start here. When to me and Mills Mahama came on power for 8 consecutive good years. Or when to me and okay, or with the normal bank. What about us? Nanka Kufa Dubai here. At least this is your World Bank. And I idea or money kuhui. Yams have better 8 years and to me and my brother said, you can't take them for granted. As you said, and the social media, your team chromas near confed the Korano. Okuta phone, the old Japan a woman, or no what you are saying confed who. Unlike first now, there was a group of people who the echoes will react. This time around, the reaction be global. If you ask now, and with Japan, will be free more Ghana, me take right will be or Ghana. And son will be at Ghana. So, you know, these factors, Alanchamatin problem. Most of people were saying, so, then you won't keke. Now your problem. My brother, now your problem. Because Alanchamatin went with people like Kopsuna Doye. Sorry. Kopsuna Doye was one of the key people. Now, no, he didn't know. What did Nipa be bring a coin? But Yantumians, yes, and a ring in a buy. But anyway, Nina, the mechanic say, Opa Ulusua, or in general life, say, when you now started say before, I mean, Nintendo Square, then coming opportunity to go to university, I didn't come in yesterday. That's a bra,
Okay,
a brabant could be.
already fine. Mpacho say, what the internal party politics, near my course, so what they are not on chain. One can be honest, say no, Ghana mine, do by BSA, intimate can or crunch their home. May there be a mecase, and then your Mahama Yaku Obama a yumi. On to Mr. Ogan Nina or Tegan and as a gun and in your white means I was some white green as a sign your orientation. I change you quite faso a boy brana. Your Mahama and Timmy messes sound. Sounds not Nana Kufuad when Timmy messes sound and no maca to order that. Your Ghana for a name in 2024 or 10 crime. Etsy, but be almost a gata caseta ho or came and a one do by say 11:30 to 4 be added than no as a sabola, Paco Fiagu, go to or expectations will to a cross our ball and consult Thomas a pine tontum neighbor reno. None of my repent the pressure to system so. Your Ghana for a mamma or mutidum or muton. Okoton one now, no mamma sa, who be not their frat one amount. Or more muton, or my yaman catty upon my coin catty edico could differ. Anti-corruption and Casano Ghana, yen citizens, or four monams to 5 minutes sellers, if you'll be a ton pure across street in your Ghana be real. Anti-Ghana say Ancassi and say a dream and sunny aspect say, oh, baby, be a mine. Now, the question to you is that just all talk of Ghanaians changing the orientation and the mentality aside, you know. The people stand and say, one Cassan, to be honest with you, sir, 8 years now, MPP administration will be dear, no head economy, ye fast so manage Ghana and Yema. One Casano, no one need you home. As an MPP person, or part, Talis, no tone.
Oh, my brother, say, all the party colors in the 20 years. So we boost up Pupa. Many program several times. Most of the things are now cost of them. Namempe. One typical example. There was a time your president echo program. You saw him be. I'm sorry. Your born national anthem. I'm sorry. My president's man, Alajo Macho. Tell Alajo Macho anymore.
Yeah.
Alajo Macho. Henry Cote. Emma. Okotete or hini. And in the be any who say about the same national anthem, not president, but ekuta phone close to president. So what you say? Well, to me and country. Okay. Now, the society won't say no. You moral decay. Moral decay near high from top to down. Whether from top to down. Go to Japan. What the way see your money man. Unum say a nipa you too kwan Africans and you complain nipa when it comes to work. You pay complaints because you don't want to be forced. But so Asia for no my call for no 777 Nkurasifo to Japan ha who are Juma the leader become high. You don't have a say. Na Ghana ni dey be mu amasisi say democracy. Brother, democracy to the extent say and no be general radio should the president at them. Look at your face like monkey. President. Brother, they say I reset here. No president, no government can change Ghana. I'm telling you. Because someone who press on the man and Ekufuado. So say we'll lose to by 7th January, he's gone. And another group of people are going to rise again against President Mahama. So where are we going? Ya wali obabi amai obani nye papa. Inti yankwani ye. Let me give you one typical example. There was a time when I was in Ghana. I was living in a certain place. Now, land bi da hɔ a man no bɛto ball agu hɔ. Nti bra me kɔtena hɔ no. I decided to stop them. Nti me kɔyɛ signpost ebesi hɔ. Stop dumping refuse here in the southern Maniama. So they were doing it. And I decided to say, no, the bath matching by 4 a.m. to 5.
Yeah,
Now about 4 a.m. Sorry.
Mincho, Martina Baby or Accra, North Legon, any Medina Baby, a Bosch, no. Gata Cassier, a bo, na 12, between 12 and best at 5 a.m. Sagatan will be a cotton wall boom. And Yentime me say, Sabola now to a gum, and one and two better appoint to Mamma Barberio. Among the pressure about to the healthcare system, not for Ghana. Say Abayan, yes, come from healthcare system now and see hospitals. And yes, scientific idea of what attempt. He did your Mahama attempt, attempt. Japan ha, and how much 5, sometimes 4:30, we won't go for now, or maybe 45, me think what 55, 60, 70,
60, 45, they are young. 45s are working. 75 to 80, they do those.
Omukuta packets, no packet, great. You need that from no cleaning the environment.
Communal labor.
The mentality
had it back home.
And to do bra, as I say, young country, yes, John Hammer, are winning election when you are doing this in and then Uncle Fobe number more vandalizes say public properties. Some properties, John Hammer, Uncle first can have an family. So if we are not able to change our mentality and our orientation as a people, not say, but not say, and near much said the BA, we should forget about it. And the empire leadership, bar, and almost say, and what I do almost an answer, no mindset in your papa. Sometimes we have to put our political collaboration and aside and then speak the truth and try to correct the people.
My brother, Zoom Lion, Master man can we into the beginning of 5. Who's a girl with the ball? Now, me stop on. Okasa is our coy, Namijinaho. Within 10 minutes, all but no guy be neighbor. Guy, no. Guy, me but hide now as a baller commander. But I swear before God, the guy came with cutlass. Just wanted to come and butcher me if I challenge him. Or the second one, I'm part of the brother, say. I said, Mama, no, then I'm going to share with them. My brother, baby, I attend president, want to hobby. MDC, you want to hobby. Assemblyman, want to hobby. And to say, yeah, to me, organizing and once you say, baby, I attend. And we are waiting for president. Me, I grew up from village. Now, Yanka said, we come together, we make our toilet near there, my brother. And at the same village, now, we feel by almost 1 more toilet too. They are calling government to come and construct toilet for them. which is wrong. What are you doing? Common communal labor, you can't do it. Have you developed more than Japan? Japanese are still doing communal labor. What are you doing? Hey, my brother. And on my last year to the sense that Mamina what auton Katina or de Kunkunta Fran or Quasolio.
Oh, sorry. Nane
On
ba
Quasolio or Yakabuni.
Ba na otitin wo fi na ne ba na hu se da bi o yam kunkunte fra. Maame na oton enwo odi su di afra no ne ba na oti fie na hu no ono na e ba be
Or
rise ba be
Quasolio.
oba be MPP
Yes.
youth organizer oba MPP chairman
Yes.
ono na the number be NDC leader. Nti ne maame na corrupt no ansa na o nyina ba be di sa
Corrupting
system no.
that.
Maame de kan corrupt akura no da bia meka say so yi akromfo 1000 so omu hye no omu nyi omo mampanye de ombe ni akromfo. So if we are corrupt society, we elect one person to lead us. We eventually elect a corrupt person to come and lead the corrupt system. There's no way because me go invest in me to be in political science called social learning. And your man, I children kurano, mamma, phone the same kurano, my bonnet, no, and no one should be nearby and your baby will lead. And to corrupt leaders, nay, let you mono. A society, a corrupt society, Nankasan produces uncle for no. Well, and just say, who's out of the way.
Say, leader, you be branded both democracy, a little military, a craftra. Our you had to say, me Maukai, we am a minister, although you helped me to come to power as the president, but what you have done, I'm not going to retain you. So, brothers, here, there's nothing we can do. And in Niparans, you answer, cry again, in Solid. Okay, Uko School, yes, religious and moral education. Your child religious and moral education. And then, moral education, yeah, but akro JSS or they say kindergarten results say yes ma me dey say look at you say Mary you hear no time say you bet akra ne say onum nsu amfa to ha me ukọ mi kroma my me baby am free next 2000 to asinkusia na project sem the cleanest town in Ghana enti ahemfo no on be so mu hu say papa na dia waye no Ghana. Se munnim na kwan mo beyin po a muntumi nkobusa o twa aban ta aban na emesiesie ukrom enye yi my brother Presum Lion se minnim se wonim these boys here the boys who of Facebook from Bastard boys omo clean got testimony dia ma to ne ma mpesa me de koma o hwe se ye pese ye bold nation these boys have been there more than 1 year no common single consistency can I say constituency we allocate yamamo munye madwani entu amoka they are doing it voluntarily any your sisters can Presum Lion you try no one person 850 Ghana no akomo 250 can you imagine
Say a brand nya brenti yede I think that is a conversation we need to have more often because we messages we say in a bit master Sunday Ghanaian society. Many ni say John Mahama na Yakufu Addo na Dr. Bomi.
Dabi. No man
Ghana for na nka say tima mu na nsesan attitude. Yan sen suban ye ni ye ne kwan fa so ye niema. Ni ansan adwen a enya de say meka say Yesu Kristo kura be die so a kuro ni nye ye ma ye because ye kind of people ye leader and ye controlling Krokromoti yes only emrewa and eba no I think say ya na bit mass saman no obi ntimi free ba bi mass saman America fo ntimi mass saman Britain fo ntimi Japan kuro ntimi eye bia ankasa e ko Ghana man no ne Ghana fo no ye na e bitimi ama Ghana man na tumpon en na ne ye kasa ya to aba wi a NDC fo en na mo vandalizing ye ma say boss national property so mo na mo say no because your orientation
you've won the election and why are you destroying state properties? What about if you did not win? What are you going to do?
ABC I say yeah that say owura adubu ahen our journey and
but just a small message my member of the for now member for okay member small message the mechanic say the kakra person say you know anuma ya tu kwan ya konya kofi I believe say kofi our friends our family members are you what influence you let's educate them. So Sunday morning beer yeah your area you know let's organize them. Let's this communal labor. Let's bring it back. Even 10 people, you can still do something. 10 people, you can still do something. You buy them drink beer because in the from and they will come. And I believe that the cost of doing there. Baby, you took coin and yes, you can continue to coin. It's too kind to there. In the Japanese in Abrewa 75 years. Or no, also no pa. It's also another exercise. Or 20 nimpo. But then Abrewa 60 years for Ghana pa. Ni amana tenefi. Because one go try the market to cry new because the ma answer no into na Abrewa ne ko try there. But Japanese they don't care. Manuasi emre ni ho.
Ora Dubuahen, the organizer for the new patriotic party in Japan. He's based in Chiba. And that's a joining Jumadian. Sansuna, we're joined on the show by our regular panelists, Mr. Godfrey Teriagogoye, Communications and Public Affairs Analyst from Accra, Ghana. Don't forget, this is the latest installment of our program, Krokromoti Power, covering the...
We have Yaya. Yaya has come. NDC Yaya has come.
I've learned that Yaya has joined the line so quickly. Yaya is also based in Chiba. I'm also a member of the National Democratic Congress. 5 minutes near we. Ora.
Yeah, Joe.
Ya trying watch it. Akwaba.
Yeah, mo.
They kind member Tiunkwa. Na it's the political party, the National Democratic Congress, at the 2024 general election, where a decisive win, both the presidential and then the parliamentary elections. Though there are 9 outstanding constituencies, bit mama numbers now increase. There now who say contribute to this major victory for the National Democratic Congress elections.
Yo, openye me da wase mama me sa akwanya. Ana me chia minia penyin adubu ane won omodi kan aba platform so nyina. Eto so me no so me chia Japan for ene Ghana for nyina. Yeda nyankopon asada de okono onyankopon ne komae. Enti yeda asada dikan ema onyankopon. Eto so me no yese do ye hwehwema de wo yo on pepa ne sakwa. Ye konkoden ye adwin enti nyankopon ohwe se oma sa ina ya ye no enkokwa de ho sen ho so de amaye. Eto so mienza so mi gidi uhwema game we will bia otu na kuma to eboa no odwen Ghana ewo Ghana ho it is also senior in a scope ba Ghana I just said musa ko ba se kakra bi nipa kakra bi enti no se o hwe se nkodi bi ba na tu afagana nyina empo mia bi a yen hyeda efi se ye hye kanima nkami amamu so efiri afia pema hankono no mienu ebisinne NDC one winning da kura no ene yetumi awini honom ye winning so ya winning so no emu twen enya ade bia ebiasida enti ɛyɛ adwumaden ɛne nyankopɔn a wɔtaa akyi a ɔtiti abo a wɔni mɔwerɛ ɛma no nti na ɛma ɛwɛ yɛ da wase.
Okay. Mamemfa unko deeper kakra. MPP for say from the analysis no, and of course, the MPP for unko na ekam. Okay, about over 7 million people. And oman kwanko to abano. And if you compare the numbers from 2020 elections now, John Mahama numbers no appreciate it just a little over 100,000 votes. MPP the no mum neti. Me Musa or say what I say no feel say no play a role and as play role obviously no over nipa 7 million and twaba mapa koye amanyofo a mode mo don qualities yes ani amano san kofo over best 7 million man twaba no nyi ni say omu lose trust in the political system of Ghana.
Minua matisa ansem no bibi ni mu mi hu ni say mogo fi say number 1 yen yedi kaka ana ubisa me now for bibria omuye MPP for ametane umuka se Ghana ye kase ye to aba finchim a ebe din se MPP be we that is number 1. Number 2 we Ghana population na ye say 32 million. Se no kure say 32 million na se ye wo youth no so den a omudo so sene the geriatrics and I said the adults. And so okay say 32 million. Not half of the population and a year mature so vote sebe and no correct. Either say the registered the number of registered voters is bloated. And I say the population census of the population na a minimum a bro 32 million na year can I say 32 million a year can was no. Enti sa 7 million na omuka se anto abande me am tihide say ye base on the 32 million me gidi say ye voter population ain't mean do 80 million. Say voter population ain't mean do 80 million. And a 2 Ghana so voter population
You doubt the
credibility
of
credibility. Yes.
Okay.
Me doubt yeah. To me
But
position.
You don't have any scientific basis to back it. This party leadership, the new National Democratic Congress, Ekwatina say where sa nneema nyina na omoji tum. But make it statement to our prove be how they back it say be a population census na conduct or Ghana no enye accurate. And I say a voter register no di shema say shema or anything to back that.
Yes, number 1, interest me catch yourself minimum manga se part me see minimum min just she said simple adrenaline and as a scientific thinking. And it said Ghana population and this is Japan population. And ever from Ghana population, it keep on appreciating. It keeps on appreciating by I'm say 3% or so. I stand to be corrected on that. It keeps on appreciating. And say keep on appreciating there. That's our share. What do I need to now share senior? You see, war. Anything you see, war. Now, catch them say, yeah, 32 million. Name you voter population of voters so 18 years and above. Nipa umadi in field ekosoro ena eden na twiro mudi nto aba na wo mu to aba nko a wo nyina 18 years eko eto aba nko 18 million, half of it ye 36. That means Ghana populate or the human resource na just a dangerous. So there's a nkokrafo ebe doso atene maburu se nkokrafo doso atene mamuru dia na just o man nka se eni enyina sopa.
Alright.
Yeah.
Then Ghana for expecting free this NDC administration in this 4 years that already Dramani Mahama.
Number 1, yedi kan kase ye pese reset o mine no. O mine no sabri atetia pansam. all institutions and you are aban you are bia ase nti kaka se ye berete number 2 no kodie no kwaridi senia ya ye bida no oman no mu awie su bia ba bia wo no ye becha amana so ba bia ankrankro biara so brono bia kuro bia mantem bia benyane die a efata eto su minu ye fansen economy no atetia pansa enti ye behwe kwan ye befa so ye be reset ena ye ready ye studies everything are ready ye be ye is a Ghana for ye ne omu ne betu anamo no enti every step of the way bia na afi bia no ye mpanyimfo be trance onu wo be trance omu no manfo trance na ne se abi no me kai se kofo bra na anase se no frɛ no the people's assembly or something like that no ye wa hu ni ba bia ye oman na koduru bia nti ye ne omu ne betu saa anamo na amoma hu nti Ghana ni bia oda ona no NDC abane de ye ne ye ma no so obia so nti ye be ye oman no ama so aye krabahwe afa ne tuma pass afra
Tamaya mejo last words na ye the program dwumadie na si ene electoral commission dia betudwa say aka 9 constituencies wo ho a me ho no yentimi declare the warren both the presidential and the parliamentary seats na ho declare there's been pockets of violence on election day, yet a lot of allegations from both the MPP and the NDC. And they are two about we in Techiman, I think Techiman South constituency. A hono violence because why alleged NDC supporters aqua jipping sheet in Ibi Washington. Say na there was an initial declaration for the MP. A bit because Blikuma North. And they okota mo nam nkran mantam no obeko ba bina enkofo allegedly, once again I'm using the word allegedly advisedly we NDC supporters enama omo shishishe public properties ewo bi say boss ene de ka ho mo tese niema afutu ben na ade bema sa nkofo no da so mo ye MPP for na NDC for na say Ghana for mo ye sa ade na afutu ben na ade bema mo because ultimately be cause problem say oman no jo mahama ba e so san fa me fesita na ma no
yo me dase kai ni me kan se yen hwe ye no ebra pilusu power sa ni ma sa koso efi se ya na sa ye nuanom no o ma yo mu se o mu nim nyasa sin obia enti se o mu di bone na se o mu eto Ghana for do mu to twi o mu ni se aban a eba no but nam se bone o mu adi ntino also mu titete enti niema state institutions ayeka ho asem o mu se niema bepia metimi the passport office aye example o mu niema bepire bihye no sabre no bia no masa sha ase no meni o kasai ye intels ye nya on the information wo abadwuma binumu a o ma sha ase change positions nkrata ne ne keka ho adisie but the first catch room nyina ne say eno nyina ne enkosi aka 2008 na and 2009 eno mo ye de chair no sabre die enye sa enti obia obebu hu akwada no krampo gina so titus na ma Ghana photo abamaye enti or say ankuntabo ne de obebu na to so mi no say NDC fo wo ma media me gidi wo makomam kan say enye NDC fo ena state institution fe bantma
Wassalamu
fe
alaikum.
metro mass fe bantma
Wassalamu
fe
alaikum.
metro mass yo makwa akwaye ho no nti say NDC fo na ya NDC bra new plant station enka or saying metro mass nti say NDC fo na ya me na meka che hu say aban no oman no say abre ya ye ka say fi ne ekosi January no or saying MPP and I say aban otisui on the wotumi no emra no se na esi da bia no mfanto na omu ka se NDC for so eye ntuso NDC bia the omu kone se omu kujina yen ye catch say so what ye campaign from beginning 2022 ye catch them say or your mama can say ye be winning or the referee be ko or say about one nya de say ye be depend on obi aso the one of the strategies ye adopt here and say moya then ye to aba no a ye be make sure say ye gina police station because police station ye win aba nti ye wo pink sheet e kire say akosi say eduru a mo amu nyina mu nim kwan a ye fen say yi sia fa so wo delay ni ma bi especially omo hu say omo lose parliamentary say be omo ntimi express NDC or parliament nti eno no mpe ba bi anya ba bi agina eno omo delay ade no nti ngrofo so bi si say only nti eno de enye to track them no but omo hu ni say no omo a omo atia from no omo ye de me can say even say woman on twini hu film because emra no china ye de ye ma ho kwan say emra ni di nemo ye de gidi pefe say enye
All
ndi
right,
fo na ye
all right,
ya mo
all
na
right.
ye
Yeah, member of the National Democratic Congress Party, our marine the 2024 general elections for Ghana. Yeah, then as I said, we're joining live on Jafric Radio in Tokyo, Japan. Sounds no ready, Buahin.
Politics never yet. I think our mama some politics kakra. No
Already,
minimum say,
Buahin.
no minimum say
Yeah, the
politics.
organizer for New Patriotic Party, Chiba, and
So
Japan.
no minimum say politics never ya. Nkama politics. But me be kasa statement.
Omodi omadwen de eba program no so and nti producer ye no ma wi obetimi ama owura no mienu yatima akwato omdwuma de so ye de o massive papa ye one Ghana na ye build de say nti ye ho ase one Ghana na ye whether a
Yeah,
MPP
yeah.
and this
But me
the
musa mini ya
national
question kakra. Just a minute. Me musa
pacho
mini ya just question.
program
Just
na
a minute.
de producer betimi amomadi nkomo wa chi
This is Jafric Radio.
um public affairs analyst ono join from kind minister Godfred why the 1 minute and Godfred be wrap up Godfred what mean can
Very well, very well, very well.
Godfred final words in the next precisely about 27 days BBA 26 days the new administration will be sworn in ama you enter into a new dispensation that's on the 7th of January 2025. Already, government appointed the transitional team for the whole process. I'm talking about the side of the National Democratic Congress. Now, producer bit him the statement, out to Sonanka quickly, Makai Ama Yehu said the statement. This is here wrap up in just 2 minutes. You better wrap up press statement for immediate release dated 10th December 2024. President-elect His Excellency John Dramani Mahama appoints members of the 2024 transition team. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, President-elect of the Republic of Ghana, of the Presidential Transition Act 2012, Act 845, appointed the following personalities as members of the 2024 transitional team. The team will work closely with representatives of the outgoing government with a view to ensuring a smooth transfer of political power to the incoming administration. The transition team is composed of experienced individuals drawn from various sectors, including finance, governance, and public administration. The appointed members of the transitional team are as follows: Honorable Julius Debra, Honorable Johnson Esiedun Ketia, member. Honorable Fifi Fiave Kote, member. Callistus Mahama, member, secretary to the transitional team. Dr. Valerie Sawyer, member. Number 6 is Professor Kwame Nahoy, member. Honorable Dr. Kessie Ato Hayford Forsen, member. Honorable Mahama Yaruga is also a member. Honorable Gusitano is a member. And Dr. Edward Omeboama is also a member of the transitional team. As a public affairs analyst, how do you analyze this whole process? How smoother or how have you progressed from the previous transitional process into this? And are these not same old faces in the system?
Yeah, you don't expect much to change. The NDC has been in power before, and therefore they've also gone through this process of transition. If you look at the names there, they are experienced hands. Yesterday, I was telling somebody that I didn't see Mr. Atudadze, who was a chief of staff for Mr. General Rawlings when he was president. Very experienced hand. He's a consultant on transitional arrangements across Africa. I thought that I was going to see his name there, but I didn't see. Perhaps he may play an advisory role at the background.
It is. The last paragraph of the statement says that additionally, the president-elect has nominated Right Honorable Edward Doe Ajaho as a member of the Transitional Advisory Council. Signed, Sami Jemfi Esquire. That advisory.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is that they can co-opt. I'm sure they can co-opt people to help them in specific fields, right? So I'm sure he's available. I saw him on TV not too long ago, and so I'm sure he's available. Otherwise, you have Professor Kwame Ahoy, very experienced and in the governance process of this country, and the others you see there who have been in parliament and those at the hierarchy of the party. So it's a solid team. Government in the wee hours of yesterday also issued a statement announcing members of its transitional team last night.
You mean
and so I think that yes. UGI released a statement last night. So I am sure that there's the full complement of the transitional team. We are expecting that in the next few hours, the president and the president-elect will meet, at their very first meeting to kickstart the transitional processes. And we hope that it's going to go smoothly because both parties have experience in this transitional process. So I expect that it will go on very well. Mind you, we now have a transitional act, in 2012 it was passed.
Yeah.
And so we will do things accordingly as the transitional acts stipulates.
Thank you very much. Godfred Teria Gogo is a communications and public relations, public affairs analyst, and also a governance expert. He joined us live from Accra. This has been the first installment of our Krokromoti Power show, 2024, which was decisively won by the National Democratic Congress. Thank you very much, Mr. Dubois from Chiba, and also Mr. Honorable, now he's honorable because his party, Honorable State Yaya, who is a member of the National Democratic Congress. Thank you very much for what Thank you very much for... Yes, thank you very much for bringing in your views. And we got a comment from Charles Newman, who was watching us from Zama City, Kanagapa Prefecture in Japan. Thank you very much for joining the show. And until we come your way once again, stay blessed and stay out of trouble.
Mama for brother, Say a bay and yes, also, in your house,